What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another incredible episode of the Dinger Dudes podcast. I am here with Jackson Voles and the twins that just keep on winning, Chase and Andrew Jefferson, even though we are a combined we suck, man. Well, all of our teams are just not doing great, huh?
That's why I'm wearing my Land United gear because they're the only one I can rep proudly right now.
Rep proudly. Yeah, that's fantastic. Maybe they'll do something this year because the Braves are already starting to worry us a little bit when it comes to injuries and everything. But we did get some good news on Jurickson Profar today that it's just a bone bruise, that the CAT scan
Hmm.
came back and said it was just a bone bruise and that he should be ready by opening day. So that is fantastic news. The only thing that's a question mark for us right now is how we're going to handle the catching position because Sean Murphy is obviously not going to be ready by opening day. Probably going to be out for a month. Who knows?
They said
But
6 weeks was his latest diagnosis. 4 to 6, 4 to 6. But definitely not ready by opening day, like you said. But yeah, no, the profile injury, I think the reason why it kind of, gassed us all a little bit because that diving play that he made in left field really was a mirror image of what injured Kelnick last season. So I think we were all just kind of getting flashbacks to that injury. But like you said, Steven, just a bone bruise. Definitely could have been a lot worse. I'm glad you said that because I also do want to point out that his x-rays did come back, like Steven said, they did come back positive. However, negative. No, negative. I'm sorry, came back negative. However, so did Riley's and Arcia's X-rays last year until their MRI came around and there was a deeper issue. So my only fear is I'm just praying the MRI doesn't show anything worse, like you said, other than a bone bruise, like the X-ray showed. Like you said, Steven, hope like the fact that they think he's gonna be ready by opening day is a huge sigh of relief.
yeah, so I'm pretty sure that the scan that came out. I'm not sure like whether further testing is going to happen or not, like as far as like getting an MRI or anything. But it basically like all of the reports that have come out, it's basically just like we dodged a bullet. Is that there's not going
Right.
to be any like significant time missed from Profar. So thank God for that
Ooh.
because that would have sucked to begin the season like right where we started from 2024 with just more injuries and just more crap. But on the other side of the aisle, Jackson, your Cardinals, they're in a rebuild situation right now.
Yep,
They're trying to get pitchers through. I mean, you guys have a great farm system. I'll
we
tell you that
do.
right now. You
We
guys have
do.
some great guys that are coming up through it, but you are going to have to sit through a couple of years of some crap baseball in the majors.
Which
Yeah.
so did
So
we, you know.
our current spring training standings right now is well, respectable 7-8. That's kind of where I thought we were gonna be. Like I feel like we're gonna maybe reach maybe like 78, 77 wins this season right now. I had some previous interviews here on Dinger Dudes with former Cardinals players, and I had the question for them. What do you think needs to change with this Cardinal system? Because I'm not liking how I was seeing it from when you guys played for the Cardinals to right now. And they all had the same answer. Early 2010s and when Cardinals were like prominent in playoffs, they had these pillars. They had these veteran leader presences such as Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Adam Wainwright, Chris Carpenter. You see now a guy nowadays that there's no leadership on the Cardinals. And our managerial, they don't like the manager. I'm not a big fan of Oliver Marmol. We shouldn't
Y'all
have
had
gotten.
Lance Lynn. I'm just saying, y'all had Lance Lynn on the mound.
I mean, he
That's
was a
that. That's a
guy.
good veteran piece.
Yeah, he was a guy who could get us like he had like a sub 4 ERA. He had like 8 or 9 wins last season,
Oh, I
get
didn't
us
say he
into
was a
like the
great
regular.
pitcher. I
He
just I
was
just said that
not.
he supplied that veteran experience that
Yeah,
y'all needed.
he supplied that veteran experience, and so did Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter was just signed to a 1 year deal to be a clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
So, Steven, like you said, we have great guys in the farm system, and that question was brought up in those interviews too. We got guys like Tink Hence, Michael McGreevy, Gordon Grachefo, all guys who are top 50 pitchers in the minor league system right now, and we don't utilize them. So, I guess if
Well,
we have veteran leadership, I don't
it's
know.
it's kind of the same thing that the Braves are going to sit through right now because we
Yeah.
have openings in a rotation right now for people to come up and get their shine in the majors because it's not only we're going to need him in the starting rotation. We're also going to need a lot of guys that are going to step up in the bullpen as well,
Yeah.
because we have a lot of guys that are going to have to step in and pitch some late innings for us. Because right now our bullpen consists of Dylan Lee, Pierce Johnson, Raisel Iglesias, and
Aaron
who
Bummer.
else am I missing? Yeah,
Uh,
Aaron Bummer. That's pretty much our bullpen. That's where our bullpen's sitting at right now.
I mean, Grant Holmes, I think is going to be I mean, we're going to have to use him in the bullpen. I mean, I don't imagine we're going to use him much as a starter like we try to do, because like he's lack of bullpen. We just need desperate bullpen help.
We're also going to have to utilize AJ Smith-Shawver. Like if not in the starting rotation, we're going to have to rely on him in the bullpen as well. Because after what I'm seeing from Elder this year, you keep that man in AAA. I do not want to see
Yeah.
this man up in the majors again. I'm sick of him. He is
Yes.
trash.
That
Until
is
he can get stuff right, I don't need to see Elder.
Dude,
That's the
like,
exact thing that we have to avoid is we do have that fifth spot wide open, and we're just looking for a reasonable replacement there. I mean, like you said, Ian Anderson and AJ Smith-Shawver, to me, are really kind of reflecting the same issues right now. It's just lack of control. I mean, they're getting, productive outs. They have, one or two good innings per game, but they're also walking 4 or 5 batters in a 3-inning stretch. That is not a reliable fifth guy.
Well,
It's almost what we saw from Grant Holmes last season.
Well,
Because Grant Holmes had a little bit of the control problem himself his early tenures on the mound.
Smith-Shawver, he's pitching right now he pitched today against the Red Sox. I had to pull it up on my ESPN app. I was keeping up with it, and he was off the plate by a long shot on a lot of his off speed, and that's kind of what they were talking about when they were calling the game, just talking about that his off speed just looks out of control.
Yeah.
And he relied a lot on his fastball today, which turned into a lot of hits. So that's a very concern for me. I have about Smith-Shawver, and yeah, the season's coming right around the corner, and I'm just really interested to see what our opening day starting rotation is going to look like.
bro,
Yeah.
if you're talking about your starting rotation, there's tons of concerns with the Cardinals starting rotation.
Well,
Outside,
you are not in the same situation we are.
We're in two
Out-
completely different sides of the spectrum.
no, I'm talking about outside of Sonny Gray and Michael McGreevy, who I'm hoping they're going to put in the starting lineup because the dude had a 4-1 record and a sub-3 ERA when he was in the majors. Sent him down for 4 months. Why?
Yeah, that's the Cardinals organization.
What was the
for you.
point of that?
Here's my question to you, Jackson, just from a Cardinals fan perspective. Because to me, and Steven alluded to this earlier, I think y'all do have a top 5 farm system, maybe top 3 in all Major League Baseball. But why is it that the Cardinals front office is seemingly trying to delay any progression from those farm guys? They're not getting any call-ups. We already know the Cardinals have had a complete turn in roster, so why not just do what the Braves did and wipe the board clean, get those guys out of the minor league and let them develop together? Because with the talent you guys have, you give them 4 or 5 years, y'all guys are going to be right back in World Series contention. But you've got to get them out of that mud hole. You've got to let them grow.
I can actually answer that question. I can answer that question because
we've had that conversation, Jackson. Y'all's organization is delaying the inevitable right now. I feel like that's exactly what's going on.
That's what it is. Mozeliak, the guy, and we hired a guy in Shane Bloom who helped lead this 2018 Red Sox team to a World Series, who's supposed to take over Mozeliak's spot after this year. So I'm looking at it. Mozeliak, our GM, is stuck in a transitional period. He's stuck in the time of Yachty, Albert Pujols, Wainwright. He's stuck in the rosters with the veteran presences. He doesn't realize, we were bringing in these veteran presences like Sonny Gray. I forgot to mention Eric Fetty, who we traded for at the All-Star break. We got rid of Tommy Edman, and look what happened. NLCS MVP. The dude went off in the playoffs. And he didn't even play a single game for the Cardinals last season. He didn't play a single game for the Cardinals last season.
He's a great bullpen pitcher, though. I think that's a really good pickup, though. I'm not gonna lie. And y'all had those veteran pieces. Y'all had those veteran pieces that I think is good to have when you're trying to develop a young team. So it's not like y'all don't have the right pieces in motion. Y'all had those 1 or 2 guys that can help lead a young group. Y'all just aren't giving them a chance.
As experience, I think y'all aren't doing a good job at getting y'all's the future presence y'all have in the farm system. Y'all aren't doing a good job, I think, giving them good experience.
We're not, and you've seen it in Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker was a top prospect the past couple years, and they've kept him to like a minimal of 30 games in the majors.
That's
And
ridiculous.
so what the Cardinals are trying to do is bring in bench coaches like John Jay Descalso, who were part of that 2011 World Series team. Brought them back. They're planning to bring Yadier Molina back next season as a coach. So maybe that will help. I don't know. Trying to mix cultures. I don't know. But I wanted to get into
Mixed cultures. I mean,
mixed cultures. They're trying to mix cultures, like the veteran to
sure.
the new guys. But I wanted to get into this. I want to start off with Stephen Lambert. I want to get
Hey,
into our MVP candidates. I know we talked about it. We kind of made a graphic post about it on our Instagram. But Stephen, who's your MVP candidates for this year? And give us a little spiel on why.
all right. So until somebody in the National League can sit there and take over this guy as being the best player in baseball, there's just not going to be another MVP in this stretch of baseball that we're watching until Shohei Ohtani is just either injured or just finally falls off, which we're not going to see anytime soon. We've seen in spring
Yeah.
training, Ohtani still has the power. He's going to be back in the rotation this year, so he's going to have be the ace of that Dodgers lineup, and he's also going to be the power behind it. So Shohei Ohtani is going to have another MVP year. Like I said, man, at the end of his career, we're going to really have to consider Ohtani being one of the greatest baseball players in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the trajectory that he's on right now. I mean, we've
Yeah.
never seen
I think
somebody in the
he's a
game
Hall of Famer
dominate
already.
on both sides of the ball. Well, that's the funny thing is that's a debate that we can also have is about is he already in the top 10? I don't think so. I don't think he's got it because he just hasn't played long
Not
enough
top
yet.
10. Not top 10.
But I'm telling you right now, man, if he keeps the trajectory, then without a doubt, he's going to be known as one of the best to ever do it. And he's certainly the best right now because he's, like you said, he's back in that rotation. That's just an unbelievable, like the best rotation we've ever seen with Blake Snell, Roki Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Glass now behind him, being the ace there. He's going to be back this year. He's already looking like he's going to get right back in the fold. DH wise, we've never seen somebody that has like dominated the MVP voting from the designated hitter spot. But when you're Shohei Ohtani, that's what you get, man. He can be a 35 plus homer guy while also being a sub 3 ERA pitcher, while also getting like 15 wins on top of that. So, like I
Yeah.
said, Shohei's my National League. He's going to be the front runner, going to be the MVP this year. I kind of hope as a little asterisk here because he's going to be back this year is that I'm hoping Ronald Acuna has a resurgence year and that he's also in that MVP voting um, decision making. But on the American League side, see the American League. This is just a question. No, we really don't know who can run away with this MVP voting. We got some favorites here. I mean, Jackson talks about somebody in Seattle who should have a resurgence year, and a Julio
he needs
Rodriguez,
one.
which
He needs one.
they desperately need him to get back to where he was. But
Yeah.
my guy, who again, it's another designated hitter, but I think he's just going to dominate this year. I really believe that Yordan Alvarez is going to have a 40 plus homer season. He's going to have like a 280 plus average, which is he's capable of it. I think he's just going to dominate. Again, this is a Houston Astros lineup that's lost a big piece in Alex Bregman, so they need
And
somebody
Kyle
to
Tucker.
and Kyle Tucker as well. So they're going to need somebody to
Yeah.
really step up and produce. And Yordan Alvarez has been that guy for him. That's kind of like the best comparison I have right now, and maybe it's a bad is like a David Ortiz for the Houston Astros
Yeah.
right now. Just a guy that can just pop one whenever you need him to, and just a guy that's just reliable with the bat. So I think Yordan Alvarez is going to have a great year, and I think he's going to be my AL MVP.
And Steven, I want to bring up what you said, like just to research your point, because I think you make a great point talking about what the Astros lost. And though the Astros lost Kyle Tucker, they've lost big assets this offseason, I still think they have a pretty solid roster. Their pitching wise is still pretty solid as well. And I think losing a little bit of star power might help Jordan Alvarez's case to win MVP. Because imagine if he does have the numbers, like you said, Steven, and he helps bring Houston back to the playoffs with a less star-powered roster, and then maybe even takes them further than the wild card like last year, then I think absolutely people are going to look his direction saying he is a valuable player like an MVP is supposed to be, and look how much value he's bringing to a team that just lost a lot of offensive power. So I think that's
People have forgotten Ohtani's years with the Angels when he was getting all the attention back when he was in the American League. Yordan Alvarez was right behind him in almost every hitting number. But again, he was just getting overshadowed because Ohtani is just nationally known as the greatest player in baseball right now. But Yordan Alvarez during those years were very underwhelming when it came to the attention that he deserves. So he's never truly lost that star power. It just hasn't been elevated yet. And I think, like you said, Chase, with the Astros kind of changing roster and all, I guess their backs are kind of against the wall this year. But this is also an American League that the door is wide open for so many different teams. And I think that includes the Astros and the AL West right now. So I actually do really like that pick. I think Yordan Alvarez has to have a breakout year, and he's going to have a breakout year.
Yordan Alvarez has already had a breakout year. The dude averages 33 homers per season. What I'm looking at stat reference right now. And again, I like the Yordan Alvarez pick even more now since they're moving him up to like that leadoff spot with the loss of Kyle Tucker. So again, that Astros team again has lost a lot on that team, and I agree with your pick. But I kind of have a different pick in the AL West, and you mentioned him. Julio Rodriguez. Now he had a slow start to the first half of the season, only hitting 7 or 8 homers during the first half of the season. A lot of people thought that he was going to have an up season because the previous season he had 32 homers, 103 RBIs, and a 275 batting average. But the second half of the season, 12 homers, 42 RBIs for Julio Rodriguez. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but he still kind of picked it up towards the later half of the season. And I still see the continuous progression with Julio Rodriguez. And here is another reason why I'm looking at show projections. His projected stats for the 2025 season, 280 batting average, 85 homers, and 34 RBIs. Look, and I know it's not a lot, and that's just projections, but with this Seattle Mariners team losing some key veteran pieces, especially in the lineup, with I believe Cal Raleigh's going to be out for a little bit due to injury as well. And I know they had a guy like a star player, and like Justin Turner had a really solid season for them last season. And a veteran presence, like he was their best player last season. And that's kind of sucky to say because it's a 40-year-old Justin Turner. But Julio Rodriguez, great, also fantastic fielder as well. I just think with Julio Rodriguez also being moved up to the leadoff spot, it gives him more opportunities, more at bats. That's kind of why I have Julio Rodriguez as my American League pick. NL pick, I completely agree with Steven. If you find a guy who dominates on both sides, the pitching and the hitting, and the fact that he won the NL MVP last season without pitching, you can't really go against Shohei Ohtani. But Twins, I know y'all have NL MVP picks that are opposing to us, so whoever wants to go first in that.
I guess I can go and take the leadoff spot here because my NL MVP prediction, my predicted player, does lead off for that powerful Dodgers lineup. I do think Mookie Betts is going to win the MVP and the National League this year, and of course, I know it's. And I have to admit a little bit that I purposely shied away from Ohtani because I knew that was going to be the popular pick. So taking Ohtani out of the equation because yes, he's going to be the clear favorite to win the National League MVP. But you know that nothing is guaranteed right now. The season hasn't even started. We're talking about Mookie Betts. This is a guy who he's won MVP before back in 2018 or 2018 with the Red Sox during their World Series year. So this is a guy he has experience. He knows what it takes to win an MVP. And this is also a guy who was battling an injury last year. He was only limited to 116 games, which, in a 162 game season, that's almost 60 games entirely, but yet his numbers, he still had almost a 20 home run season, just falling 1 home run shy, and he had roughly 80 RBIs to go along with it. But the thing that never changed was that he was always a consistent hitter. He batted almost a 300 throughout the entire 160 game stretch. And when I look at an MVP, I think one thing that is prominent, one thing that I think you almost have to have is support behind you to get those runners in scoring positions. And you you look at a Dodgers lineup, I mean, obviously you look at the first 5 hitters and they're absolutely loaded. But, I think top to bottom, the Dodgers do have the most complete roster in all of baseball, and that goes for the 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters. You got Hyun-Sung Kim, who was just signed, that he's going to be at the bottom of that order. Max Muncy, I know he's kind of been a flip-flop player over the last few years. Batting average hasn't ever been that high, but he's always going to be capable to bring in that run support. And then you got players alongside him like, of course, Teoscar Hernandez that just had that phenomenal season. That's always going to be, that just re-signed with the Dodgers. You got James Outman, who can't go underlooked. So you just have all these players that are going to line themselves up on second, third base for Mookie Betts when he gets back and, the second time through that order. And that's going to create just breakout RBI chances. I think in hindsight, Mookie Betts, the highest RBI total he's ever had was back in 2016 when he hit 113 RBIs. But last season, in a full healthy season, he hit 107 RBIs. And I think Mookie Betts, I think had it not been for that injury, he would have been another 100 RBI season out of Mookie Betts. But I think with the way this Dodgers lineup is shaped up, and not to mention the runs that he's going to bring in himself just because it's incredible base running ability, I think it is not far-fetched to say at all. We could see around 120, 130 kind of RBI total from Mookie Betts this year. And I think he is going to be a 30-plus home run hitter alongside with that high count. And I mean, I don't think, if I'm looking at the stats right now, the lowest batting average he's had in his entire career was 264, and that was back in 2021. Ever since that, his batting average has always been above 280. So he is always almost a consistent 300 hitter. And I think this is a year that he reaches that max RBI count with this insane lineup. I think because of that factor alone, Mookie Betts will be the MVP for the National League.
Yeah, they're doing National League and American League.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were only doing National, but that's right. He just talked about Yordan Alvarez. So you're absolutely right. Okay, so from my American League, I'm going with a guy that I think is due. He's entering his 4th season in the MLB. This is about the time he's really going to reach the peak of his career. I think Gunnar Henderson is going to take control of that American League. And aside from Mookie Betts, Gunnar Henderson is a guy that hasn't really had to worry about, any injuries ever since he's gone that full start for the Orioles roster. He's played at least 150 games. So he's fully healthy. In terms of total hits, he had a career high 177 hits last year compared to last year's 143. So we see that it's not just a minor growth each year. He's getting 30 to 40 plus additional hits each season.
Also, I know people like Jackson kind of made a face when he said Gunnar Henderson, but I think people seem to forget Gunnar Henderson was 4th in the MVP ranking just last year.
Well,
and he was actually right behind Juan Soto.
That was going to be my next point, is that Gunnar Henderson just got the top 5 in MVP voting, and that was after he got 40 additional hits from last year. So this being his 4th year in the MLB, and he's not even at that mid-20 stage yet, his numbers are going to continue to grow at a rapid rate. That's going to elevate his game even more. I mean, just take a look. So along with his almost 180 hit season, he had a 281 batting average, and he was raking the ball. He had 37 home runs and 92 RBIs last year. 30, and that's in this with a 281 average on his back. And I think the Orioles are also a team that, with such a young talent, this has got to be the breakthrough year for them. We've seen back-to-back seasons where they choked in the wild card, but they've been one of the best regular season teams in baseball. I think this year, with Gunnar Henderson being at the helm of the MVP, I think this is a year we see Baltimore make the American League Championship Series. I think they do get to the ALCS this year because something's got to give. And they also have one of the, I think, most underrated pitching rotations in baseball as well.
I think you can.
It's not a bad take at all. I don't know why Jackson's sitting there just ugh. I understand that you got the Yankees and you have.
Because I think the Baltimore Orioles placed 3rd in their division.
I think so too.
I don't think so, man. I think this is the breakthrough year because we've seen the Orioles get better and better, and their young core is getting better and better. This is about them.
They lost a lot of players.
I said young.
They lost Anthony Santander, which is a huge piece in their lineup, but I think that they
got Tyler O'Neill now, but
hey, they got Uncle Charlie. Okay, Uncle Charlie's gonna make everything.
It's the pitching. It's the pitching that worries me.
No,
pitching out of their 5 starters.
pitching killed them in the postseason last year. That's why they had such an embarrassing outing last year in the wild card series. Our pitching was horrendous. But and actually, matter of fact, they dipped. They took a pretty big dip towards the end of last year because of how bad their pitching was.
We're also talking about MVPs, not.
And I also like to name mine.
Okay, but I was just saying, we're also talking about MVPs, not,
I would just take Bobby Witt Jr. over Gunnar Henderson for MVP.
Then why did you not? Exactly.
Because I believe Julio Rodriguez.
I think we can.
There
all
is a
agree.
name in the American League that we have not even mentioned yet, as far as who's probably going to be the front runner, because he's won it for the past. He won it last year.
Chase,
he might do it again.
Gotcha.
And Chase, who is that player?
Let me finish my point. Sorry, fellas. My AirPod died. Our AirPods died. So.
And Chase, who is that player in the American League for you that Steven is mentioning?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything Steven said. Our AirPods died.
Who's your American League MVP?
My American League MVP. So you look through the recent history in the MLB, and there's been a couple of Hall of Fame players that have the accolade of winning back-to-back MVPs. And of course, Shohei Ohtani is coming off back-to-back MVPs. You had Miggy Cabrera won back-to-back MVPs. I'm forgetting someone else pretty recently that won back-to-back MVPs.
Somebody that's not a Hall of Famer, but this is back in the 70s, Murphy.
Dale Murphy won back-to-back MVPs. And there's going to be another man in I know Dale Murphy's not recent, but in MLB history to have that accolade to his name. And that is a guy in New York by the name of course, Aaron Judge, this 2024 American League MVP. And I mean, I just think the numbers speak for himself. I mean, 50? How many homers did he have? He had, my other MVP candidate that I'm going to get to in a minute. But he's coming off a season where he hit a whopping total of 58 home runs. 2 years ago, he had the historic 62 home run season. And he's sorry, I lost my train of thought. 144 RBIs to go with it. That's what I was trying to say. 58 home runs, 144 RBIs, and his batting average within those years has gone higher itself. Now, I think this is an interesting case for the Yankees. Spring training, this is going to be relevant, trust me. Spring training, if you've been keeping up the Yankees so far, spring training, we talked about the Braves. Are getting hit with the injury. So are the Yankees. Of course, Garrett Cole said that his shoulder doesn't feel right. Gartolo Stanton is feeling a lot of tightness in his leg. Stanton is always
big shock.
Big shock. DJ LeMahieu just got injured the other day. And I think a lot of people are having lots of concerns for the New York Yankees right now because of the injuries they're dealing with. And, of course, the question marks in their starting pitching and now their bullpen after what they lost this previous offseason. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for Aaron Judge to show his consistency because usually, I mean, we looked at that 62 home run season and thought, how is he going to follow that up? And though he only hit, I think, about 35 home runs the next year, he turns around and has another 52 home run season, which just shows that Aaron Judge is consistently this dominant on a year-by-year basis. And I think he's going to have a little more pressure, a bigger chip on his shoulder coming into the season because the Yankees, of course, is coming off a World Series loss to the Dodgers when everybody thought New York was finally going to break that World Series drought. But they had a pretty embarrassing series against the Dodgers. I think Stanton's coming into this season knowing that they have a lot of question marks about this team. A lot of people are doubting that they can get back into the World Series because of how dominant.
And this contributes to Aaron Judge's case. How?
What do you mean?
How does Stanton's, thoughts on how is Stanton's injury
Because I'm saying this adds to the question marks around the Yankees. So if Aaron Judge can turn around, have another dominant season, and lead the Yankees to a World Series, which I do think they're going to make, that can show his dominance. That shows most valuable players.
He's piggybacking off Yordan Alvarez and what it's the same situation as if
Aaron Judge can beat the question marks and the allegations against his team, have a dominant showing, and bring them back to a place nobody thought they're going to go back to. Of course he's going to win MVP.
Because, I mean, the Yankees, that's the thing about Aaron Judge last year. He was able to still be the guy to lead the team and, as far as the power numbers go. even though they had, in my opinion, the best hitter in the game in that lineup in Juan Soto, who again is a front runner for MVP on the National League side now with the Mets. But like I said, Aaron Judge is going to have to sit there and be the guy, and because he right now, like that's the thing is like the question isn't even who's the best hitter on the Yankees. It's Aaron Judge. No, not even close. But it's just going to be who's going to also pick up the slack because I mean Giancarlo Stanton, God bless his heart, is never going to have a healthy season, a fully healthy one ever for the rest of his career.
Paul Goldschmidt there, Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, like Austin Wells is another guy to take a look at. But as far as a guy that's really good hitting wise, but like you said, Aaron Judge is going to really have to step up. He step up more. Not like I said, like he doesn't have Juan Soto, to pick up slack anymore. So now he's going to have to step right back into being, the Aaron Judge that we all know who he is, and being 50-plus homer and being the guy that can really carry this lineup. Also, real quick, I know he's not in MVP discussions, but a guy that has been a former MVP that is back now, and that I hope to God, I hope to God that this man can have a full healthy season.
Well, I was saying that's a joke.
Yeah, Mike Trout. No, he's not going to be. I don't know if he's going to be in discussions for MVP, but just have a healthy season. Let's not get hurt. Let's not have any injuries. I'd love to see a full healthy Mike Trout again.
I can't hear you, Steven, because I don't have any AirPods. Chase took the only AirPod. But I know y'all are talking about guys in the Yankees roster that could help pick up the slack. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Jazz Chisholm, I think, is also a guy that flies under people's radar. Obviously not a big, piece that's going to help, the Yankees drastically when it comes to who they lost in Juan Soto. Honestly, he's not going to fill that gap. But, I think the Yankees, to your point, Chase, if Aaron Judge has an MVP type season, we could find them making a threat at the ALCS.
I was going to say,
because of how wide open the American League is. I'll make this quick because I know we're running out of time, but I still got to name my National League MVP. And Steven said his name. If you want to go to Yankee Stadium and look out the window right across the street, there's a man who just abandoned the pinstripes and went to the orange and blue to the New York Mets, and that is Juan Soto. Now, Juan Soto, if they're going to do a quick little shout out, Sports Out of Pocket, I picked him to win the MVP last year, and I picked him to win the MVP again this year because he's always so close. He's finished top 5 in the MVP voting 3 times already this year. He was number 3 last year, of course, right behind Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. But I think being on the National League now, he has to compete with Shohei Ohtani. And, this is a Mets roster that I do think is going to win the NL East this year. And there's already a lot of power on the Mets. Of course, re-signing Pete Alonso was huge. I think they were top 5 in the MLB. I think they were either number 5 or number 6 in total home runs. So now you already having that amount of power in your lineup, and now you're adding Juan Soto. This is a guy that I think this is a perfect opportunity with the supporting cast around him. I think it's going to be a little bit opposite for Juan Soto, that, he's going to feel a little bit less pressure than Aaron Judge is feeling, knowing he has, I think, a better supporting cast around him, at least one that can stay consistent and healthy. And I think if he just plays his part and he can bring the Mets back to the World Series, not back to World Series, back to the NLCS, but winning it this time and bringing it to the World Series, then people are looking at him for a case that can finally get over that hump and actually win an MVP. And also, I think that for the first time since the MVP year, he's going to finish this season over a 300 batting average. And he's going to be alongside the likes of AJ Minter. Oh, don't talk about Minter. Just don't talk about Minter. In case you are late to that train wreck, don't talk about Minter.
Before we get into the pitching side, because I know we only have 4 minutes left, and I want to mention all of our Cy Young picks real quick. But the only thing with this Mets team, I don't think the Mets make the World Series due solely to that pitching, because they don't have starting pitching. Who did they get? Clay Holmes. That's it. That's all they got for their starting pitching. That's all they have. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I can't hear you, Jackson, so I don't know what we are having some audio issues over here, but we can faintly hear you. But keep talking. You're not wrong. I heard you about.
Like I said, they have even though they didn't have the solid rotation that you would expect for a team like that, but they still got Clay Holmes. Do they still have Jose Quintana?
No, he signed with the Padres or the Brewers or something.
Man, this is why
Sean Manaea. They have Sean Manaea. That's it. They don't have anybody in the starting pitching. They don't. But Steven, I know we only have 3 minutes left, but mention your Cy Youngs real quick and like a couple sentence thing to why they win.
Okay, so as far as my National League rotation, National League Cy Young, um, my National League Cy Young is a guy that just signed with the Dodgers, who, oh yeah, but guess what? Who? Because they've had Brooks Sasaki and Blake Snell, but more specifically, I think Blake Snell is going to have an incredible season with the Dodgers. I think he's going to really step up and be a key piece in that rotation. It just depends on his health. That's the big thing with Blake Snell, is that he's had some health issues in the past. So I feel like if Blake Snell can stay healthy, then he's going to be a very key piece into that Dodgers rotation, and he is going to be a sub. I think he's going to have like a 250, 230 ERA type season. I think he's going to have about 13 wins, and I think he's going to rack up the strikeouts, and he's going to be Cy Young. Now, on the American League side, my American League is going to be. It's already in question because he just got announced that he was hurt, and he's not going to start the season healthy. So Garrett Cole is my pick for the American League side. I think he's going to have another great season, if healthy. Let's hope everything pans out and that he's healthy and able to start the season. That rotation just got another piece in Max Fried, so he's got to be a main guy. So I got Garrett Cole.
Steven, you already said everything from your Blake Snell. I just have Max Fried. I think kind of Garrett Cole not starting the season healthy might help the case for Max Fried. But if Garrett Cole was healthy, and he might still be, I could definitely see Cole winning it as well.
And for my two Cy Youngs, I got Zach Wheeler and Shane Bieber. Both pitchers have been in top five Cy Young positions for the past 4 years, as long as they have a healthy season. Specifically, Shane Bieber, and the way he started off last season, I think they both are Cy Young candidates.
I'm going Paul Skeens for the NL. Shout out to Livy Dunn. AL, Nathan Avladi. I have one reason behind that and one reason only. There's been a trend in the MLB of pitchers who are coming off seasons to have incredible rebound years. We just saw it with Chris Sale, who just won the Cy Young. Skew Ball last year. I think Avladi's going to be the next one on that list.
All right, I think we're being told to wrap it up. So yeah. All that being said, man, go subscribe to the YouTube, man. Go check us out on Instagram. Just past 500 followers, and just make sure you keep checking out the content, man. Dinger Dudes, we're going to be bringing you the content all MLB season.